Welcome to Immigration and Jobs Talk Show. I'm Rajni Bharara, your host. And before I move ahead, I again would like to start the show by reading out this very important disclaimer. By watching our videos, you agree and understand that the information provided by our experts and attorneys, including comments and replies from users, is not legal advice. Use of information is at your own risk. All right. After this very important disclaimer, welcome back, everyone. I'm Rajni Bharara, your host, and today we are again thrilled to have Bruce Hurwitz back with us. Yes, for our second episode together. In our last episode, Bruce shared incredible insights on job searching, and today he's here to dive even deeper. Bruce is the president of Hurwitz Strategic Staffing Limited, an Amazon bestselling author and a top career counselor. He's been featured on major networks like Fox Business and CNN, and his advice has helped thousands navigate the job market. So get ready for some expert tips on crafting a standout resume, acing interviews, and much more. Let's get started with none other than Bruce Hurwitz, everyone. Bruce, once again, welcome back to the show.
It is my pleasure. Thank you for inviting me back. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. The pleasure is all ours, actually, because we enjoyed our last show and we got great reviews also. The audiences also enjoyed it. So thank you so much for taking out time and again coming and doing the show. And to our lovely viewers, guys, we are live on YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, and also on Twitter. And the handle is Immigration Talk Show. So don't forget to subscribe to us. And if you have any questions related to this topic, yes, today we are covering the second episode of the topic, how to conduct an effective job search. So if you have any question related to this topic, you're more than welcome to post them in the comments below. So keep asking questions, keep posting your comments. And now, without any further ado, Bruce, I would like to come to you and talk to you. Before I talk about anything else related to AC interviews and job market, I actually would like to talk a bit about layoffs because I think layoffs can be tough and unsettling experience, right? And especially in today's volatile job market. So, and we're constantly getting these news these days, quite a lot about layoffs happening. So, Bruce, firstly, what's your thought on that? And then, what is the first step someone should take immediately after being laid off?
It's an interesting question because I wrote an article on layoffs, I think 2 weeks ago. So I'm pleased to answer.
Sure.
The first thing is that being laid off and being fired are two totally different things.
That's right.
Now, they feel exactly the same because you're told you no longer have a job.
Yeah.
And you're worried about your ability to pay your bills, your reputation. Being laid off is not the fault of the employee, it's the fault of the employer. So there's nothing of which to be ashamed.
Mm-hmm.
Saying you were laid off from your job is a perfectly legitimate reason for why you left your job. If other people were laid off, saying that I was one of a number of employees who lost their jobs. In the United States, you shouldn't have any problems getting unemployment insurance. So that'll help a bit. But the first thing you've got to do is calm down. Jumping into a job search when you are psychologically not prepared is not a good thing. So you have to calm down, take a few days. You want to redo your resume. You want to talk with your friends and family and make sure that you're in the right place, because nobody wants to hire somebody who's bitter or depressed. You've got to be upbeat and see it as a challenge, as an opportunity, not a challenge. And take advantage of the opportunity. If you have wanted to update your skills, now's the perfect time to do it. You can take online courses. You want to be proactive in your job search, but you also want to show future employers that you're not the type of person who can sit by idly and do nothing, that you have to be active. So what you should do, take some courses, maybe do some volunteering. And if you have to, just get whatever job you can. There's no shame in it. If you have to stock shelves at the local supermarket, that's great. First, it'll keep you physically active. You may even lose some weight and build some muscle. But it shows that you're not going to let your ego get in the way of what needs to be done. So you could, when asked, well, you're a IT professional, why were you working as stocking shelves in the supermarket? I have a family to support. There's no shame in it. Honest day's work, honest pay. Why not? So you want to show that you have used the time since you were laid off while looking for a new job constructively. That will send a positive message to a potential employer.
Okay. But Bruce, also sometimes you feel that your job is secure and everything is um, okay and happy, but out of nowhere, suddenly, you get laid off because maybe because of the market or maybe because the company is going through something. So, in a situation like that, what should you do? I mean, how should you prepare yourself, for the possibility of a layoff, even if your job seems secure?
Everyone can be laid off.
Right.
Any company can go bankrupt.
That's true. Yeah.
So you have to always be thinking ahead. You have to constantly build your network. You have
Mm-hmm.
to constantly update your skills. Sometimes the employer will pay for that. Sometimes they won't. Doesn't matter. You have to do it. You have to keep your resume up to date. You may have just finished a great project and you're sure you'll never forget it. But in 3 years' time, when you need your to update the resume, you're going to forget about it. So you should constantly be updating your resume. And just, list what the project was. You'll refine it.
Mm-hmm.
You'll tweak it when you need it, but at least you won't forget whatever the project was. So you have to constantly be on the not be on the lookout for your next job. That's not true. You have to constantly be preparing worst case scenario. Hope for the best, plan for the worst.
Right, absolutely. And you said about building your network. So, how can one do that? And how can one be in the right I mean, how can a person be in the right network and have the right kind of contacts?
The easiest thing is to go to industry events,
Okay.
whatever your industry is. If you are looking for a job,
Mm-hmm.
and many people do this and it's a mistake, they go to networking events for job seekers. Well, you don't want to network with job seekers. You want to network with employers. Yes, there could be a situation where somebody will tell you about a job that they heard about that they're not interested in, that may be right for you. But the odds are very slim. You want to go to events where there will be employers. And you also want to go to unconventional events. For example, lectures. You can go to a lecture. Let's take IT, for example. If there's someone giving a lecture on AI, and you're already very well versed with AI, you go. And the key is to be the first person to ask a question.
Mhm.
The speaker is finished, you raise your hand, you politely ask a question. You don't say, I disagree with you about blah, blah, blah. No, that's being rude. You raise your hand and you say, I was curious when you said such and such. I always thought this was a better way to go. Why am I wrong?
Mhm.
After the program is over, people will come over to you. I've done this, it works. People will come over to you
Mhm.
and they'll want to meet you. And then you hand them your business card and you just talk to them. You get their business card. And if it's anything real, they will contact you. If they said something to you that you found interesting, write it on the back of their card.
Mhm.
And then you can follow up even if they don't. And you could say, thank you so much for coming over to me after today's presentation. I really appreciated it. I was intrigued when you said blah, blah, blah. If you're agreeable to it, I would very much like to set up a time when we could meet to further the discussion. It's got to be just getting somebody's business card isn't networking. It's getting someone's business card. To network, you have to establish a real relationship. And that you
Mhm.
can only do by meeting with the person. And it
Right.
could be over Zoom or it could be face to face. It doesn't really matter these days.
Mhm. Mhm. Right. So what you basically are saying is create an impression or notice others and also make yourself notice.
Absolutely.
Great. That's a great advice, I think. Thank you so much for answering the question, Bruce. I also have got a question here on LinkedIn, Tracer Technologies. And he says, but Bruce, why would a company want to hire an IT professional who shifted to a job stocking shelves? He changed his career. Why I why are you wanting an IT job again?
He didn't change his career. He's still an IT professional.
Mhm.
He's looking for a job. He needs money to pay his bills. So he went out and he got a job quickly, which enabled him to meet his responsibilities to himself and to his family while looking for a job in his career. It shows that he doesn't let his ego get in the way. That is not as though he cares more about the prestige of his position than the welfare of his family. He's willing to do what he needs to do. Didn't change his career. He's still an IT professional. He's an
Mhm.
IT professional who, between jobs, does what he has to do to support himself and his family. Nothing wrong with that. Shows good character.
Right, right. So, Trizer Technologies, I hope you have got the answer. Let us know if you have another question that you would like to know from Bruce. And meanwhile, Bruce, also I would like to know, so what if a person wants to change, after getting laid off or maybe after getting fired, a person wants to change their job or change or want to shift their sector. So, in a situation like this, what should they do? Do
Okay,
you
if they,
recommend that?
pardon me,
Do you recommend, taking such a step?
it depends on the person. It can work. There are times when it works, when it's a good idea. There are times when it's not. It's too complicated a question. If someone has been fired,
Mm-hmm.
everybody has been fired. So there's no shame in being fired. You have to, when they say, why did you leave your last job? I was fired. This is what I did. This is why I did it. This is what I learned from the experience, and it is what makes me a better employee because I don't repeat the same mistakes twice. Now, if you committed a crime, that's a different story.
Right.
All right, then you got to start from scratch.
Yeah.
But if you just did something stupid,
Mm-hmm.
I'll give you a real example. I had a property manager as a client, and I asked him why he was fired. And first, he talked too much. And he was going into such detail that I didn't understand what he was saying. I said, no, give me the abridged version. And he said, a tenant gave me a tip. I think it was at Christmas time. Gave me a tip. And I didn't share it with the rest of the crew. And the rule is if you get a tip, you have to share it. And I didn't do it. And that's why I was fired. I was wrong. They were right. I learned my lesson. It didn't hurt him. He
Right.
said, I now appreciate more the importance of being a team player. I'm still going to do well by my tenants. I'm still going to earn that extra tip. But from now on, I know I have to share that tip with everybody. It was a foolish thing. It was a stupid thing. It'll never happen again. Now, if he had wanted to go into a different career, a different
Mm-hmm.
profession, to leave property management, then we would have talked about what the skills are that are necessary to be a good property manager. And he was a good property manager. But he knew how to deal with people. He knew how to deal with tenants. So let's call them clients. He knew how to deal with vendors. So he could have gone into procurement. He knew mechanical things, how to fix things. He knew tools and what's necessary for construction. He could have gone into an aligned profession. Now,
Right.
he couldn't have gone from property management to IT because he
Yeah.
didn't know IT. So it has to be realistic to the person's skill set. But if he wanted to go into IT, that's fine. He could have become got a job working at a help desk after he took the necessary courses to learn what a help desk employee needs to know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Great. So Trizer Technologies is actually back with his follow-up question. So he has two questions. He says, "Will an IT company hire an individual in such a scenario?" And also, his second question is, "Wouldn't it be better to not mention about taking odd jobs during a plausible job opportunity?"
An IT company looking for a good employee with good ethics and good values will hire a good employee with good ethics and good values. If there are two candidates for a position, one who is absolutely brilliant, knows everything about the job, as we say, can hit the ground running, there's no problem. If there's another employee who's not as good, however, there's a difference between the two of them. The first candidate isn't that likable. The second one is likable. You'll go with the person you like. People hire people they like. So even if your skills aren't at the same level as a different candidate, if they believe that you'll be a good match, they will invest in you. Because why bring on somebody who won't need any training if they're going to be gone in a few months? Now, the matter of taking on odd jobs, I wouldn't necessarily put it on my resume, but I would mention it.
Okay.
You can bring it up. You say, how do you deal with a difficult client? You say, well, let me give you an example that may surprise you. To help to make ends meet, I always leave my ego at the door. I got a job working stacking shelves in the supermarket. And when you're carrying a heavy box and trying to unpack a box quickly, and people start coming over to you and asking you where they can find this and that and the other thing, you have to take a deep breath and say to yourself, I'm an employee here. It's part of my job. Customer service is part of the job.
Right.
So you take a deep breath and you answer their question and you go back to doing what they hired you to do, what they're paying you to do. And it's the same with IT. You've got a major problem on your hand. And someone calls up and says their mouse isn't working. You don't want to have to say, did you check the batteries?
You don't even know how to operate a mouse?
It's aggravating because it's something that the person should be able to do themselves. But you learn to take the deep breath. You learn that while for you it's a simple thing, for them it's panic.
Right.
So that's how you can bring up the positive of taking on the odd jobs. There's no shame in it. There's nothing to be embarrassed about.
Right. So he's back and he says, right on the buzzer. Thanks. Thank you so much, Riser Technologies.
Okay.
Right. We are happy that you're happy and you got the answer, right?
Yeah, it looks like they have a satellite from the logo, the emoji that came up.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, looks like it. So, okay. So now we still have a lot of questions from the viewers, but now again, I would like to come back to my own question, Bruce. So now this is an important question, so which is why I would like to take this right now. So if you can also talk about, how can job seekers effectively use LinkedIn and other social media platforms for networking and job hunting? And before you answer this, a small question: which for job hunting, which app or which site do you think works best for job hunting?
LinkedIn.
LinkedIn. Okay.
Period. End of discussion.
All
LinkedIn
right.
wins. Now, how do you use LinkedIn and other social media platforms for networking and job hunting? All right. Social media can cost you a job. A recruiter, an employer will look you up on social media. I had one candidate for a job that I had been looking to fill for a year. This was a number of years back. It was for a test developer, academic test developer. And when they hired me, they said, Bruce, you will not be able to complete this search. You will not be successful. We've been looking for years. We haven't been able to find someone, but we've read your articles on LinkedIn. We like the way you think. We like the way you write. We'll give you a chance. But understand, we know you're going to fail. 10 months in, they call me up, and they had purchased for me a list of all of the people in the United States who had the certification that was necessary to qualify for the job. And it cost them thousands of dollars. 10 months in, they said, Bruce, we're pulling the plug. I said, no, you're not pulling the plug. I've got another 50 people on the list to contact. You are not going to pull the plug on me. This is personal. I want to contact these 50 people. So they just laughed and said, go ahead. It wasn't going to cost them anything. Well, I found the candidate. After 10, 11 months, I found the candidate. She had all the qualifications. The certifications, she had been at her job for a good length of time. But I found her on Facebook. And her cover photo was of her sticking her tongue out at the camera. And she posted nonsense on Facebook. On LinkedIn, she was a professional, but on Facebook. So I told them, they said, we don't want her.
Okay, so does that also make a difference? Because, people have personal lives and
if you have a personal life, you are entitled to your personal life. Keep it personal. Make your social media private. Because if you make your private life public, then that can also be a sign that you're going to bring your private life into the office. And most employers don't want that.
Wow.
They don't want you coming in complaining about your spouse, your children, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, whatever. They want you working. And the amount of time that is wasted at the office on gossip and on people bringing their personal life to the workplace is, I've never seen a number, but it's got to be billions of dollars in time wasted over the years. Now, so how do you use LinkedIn and social media platforms in a positive way? You act professionally. Write things on LinkedIn, long form articles, so that people will get a taste for your work, for how you think, what's important for you. They'll learn about your character. Comment on other people's posts, but be polite. It's very easy to insult. Don't insult. If you wouldn't say it to somebody's face, don't put it on LinkedIn or any social media platform. I have on LinkedIn a weekly newsletter. Viewers can find it if they go to my LinkedIn profile. They'll see the link. Every week, I get anywhere from 1,200 to 2,000, sometimes a lot more than that. But on average, let's say 1,500 views. That gives me a certain amount of credibility. Now, I'm on the major social media platforms. The only thing I post are links to the articles. That's it. I will post this interview. About an hour after we're done, correct me if I'm wrong, it'll be live on YouTube.
Yes, it will be.
I will take that link and I will post it on my personal page on LinkedIn, my company page on LinkedIn, and I'm in some 70 odd groups on LinkedIn. I'm in another 30 groups on Facebook. So it'll be the same thing. Post it on Facebook, personal page, professional page and all the groups. And then it'll be X and Truth and Instagram and Threads, and I'm probably forgetting one. It's always the same thing. It's always professional.
Right.
I never post anything about my personal life. I don't get into politics. I don't get into religion. I don't pick a fight with anybody. And if somebody wants to pick a fight with me, I just ignore them. There's nothing worse for somebody. If you want to hurt someone, ignore them. That's the best way to get back at them. Unintentionally, totally unintentionally.
Mm-hmm.
I was a speaker at an event, and a woman came over to me and she said, "Hi, Bruce, how are you?" And I said, "Fine, thank you. Don't you remember me?" "I'm sorry, I meet a lot of people." She said, "Well, we used to work together at such and such place." I said, "Well, as you know, then there were 100 of employees. I'm sorry, I really don't want to be rude, but I'm about to give a talk, and I have to go and speak with the host. And I appreciate your coming, and I hope you'll stay, and maybe afterwards we will talk." Well, she was livid. She was absolutely furious. She was
Wow.
seething because I had forgotten her.
My
All
God.
right? I wasn't trying to. I forgot her. I'm sorry. I didn't remember. And somebody asked a question about networking, and I used it as an example. And I said, "Look, you can go someplace, and someone can come over and say hi, and they remember you, and you don't remember them, and that's part of life.
Mm-hmm.
But it's how you handle it. You don't want to be rude." And I glanced at her. I didn't look at her when I was answering the question, and I just glanced over, and she smiled and she nodded, and she realized that she had been inappropriate. And then she came over. I still didn't remember her, but we had a nice chat. It was fine. No one died. Nothing bad happened.
Right.
But online, as in the real world, you always want to be polite. You always want to be considerate. And if
Right.
somebody
But
wants to
but
pick a fight, fuck away.
Right, but Bruce, if I talk about this generation, Generation Z, so they're all about social media, posting everything on social media, their opinions on everything, right?
Mhm.
So, I mean, what would you like to tell them? Because if anyone tells them anything, so they don't like it, right? They don't
Mhm.
like taking advice from people.
Mhm.
So what would you like to say to them? How should they keep personal stuff personal and then professional stuff professional? Because I have seen a lot of posts on LinkedIn also from people, from these kids, talking about these political issues and so too many things basically, and they are also posting it on LinkedIn, which is a professional platform. So
Mhm.
what would you like to tell them?
Stop it. Simple as that. Don't do it. Make your Facebook, Twitter, whatever private, so only your friends can see it, and then do whatever you want. But the way you act online is the best indication about how you're going to act in the workplace. And if you're talking politics online, the odds are you're going to be comfortable talking politics in the workplace, and no employer wants that. In the United States, there's a rule. It's an adage.
Hmm.
If you make a political comment, a third of the people will agree with you. A third of the people will disagree with you, and a third won't understand why you're talking politics. So you're going to lose 2/3 of the people in the room. Don't do it. I don't care what you think about your president, your prime minister, Taylor Swift, or anything else. All right. I care about you as a professional.
Right.
Write articles about your work. Share articles about your work. If you're not a very good writer, that's fine. You want to become known as a resource for valuable information. So
Right.
every day, every week, share an article. You don't even
Mhm.
have to comment on it. You can just say, "I came across this article on creating firewalls, and just thought I would share it." People will appreciate it, and then you'll
Mhm.
get a reputation for being a source for valuable information. Better that than being a source for politics and being a good photographer of whatever food you're eating.
Mhm.
If you want to be taken seriously, you have to be serious.
Wow. I think people should get that on a t-shirt. If you want to be taken seriously, then be serious. Thank you
I
so much.
won't get it copyrighted. So
Yeah, I think you should. That's a great line. So, thank you so much, Bruce, for that great advice and that great line. And we have another viewer here, and um, she has an interesting question. Catherine is the name, and she says, "Hello, Bruce. When I gave my first interview, I asked the interviewer to increase my salary a bit. To that, he replied rudely. So, how to respond in these types of situations? Should I accept the offer?"
okay, first off, you didn't have a salary.
Right.
You weren't hired. You didn't have a salary. They hadn't offered you the. I don't know from the question whether or not they had offered you the job. If the interviewer replied rudely, then it depends who that individual was. Was he the HR director? Was he the person who would be your supervisor? Was he the owner of the company? I've had that situation where people have responded rudely,
Mm-hmm.
and I respond politely. Well, thank you very much. I'll consider your offer. When I get home, I withdrew my candidacy. I was never I never regretted that, because you don't if somebody is rude in an interview, they're going to be rude on the job. So that's the key takeaway. There are very polite ways to decline to raise the salary. You just say, "We've budgeted for $50,000. We can't go over it. Salary is reviewed annually, and at that time, I'm certain you will be able to show that you're worth more than 50,000, and that's when we'll have the discussion. But for right now, you knew coming in what the offer was going to be, or what the maximum was going to be, and that's what it is."
Right. Right. Okay.
I
So,
don't like rude people.
of course, who does, right?
Yeah, yeah.
That's true. So Amit Thua is also here, and he says how to find an employer who can sponsor EB1C visa for an IT software professional. So I think Amit Thua, I think what you should do is we also do project placement. So maybe you can send us your resume. You can mail your resume, the most updated one on Rajni at Higher IT People and also support at Higher IT People. So I think yes,
As I told Rajni when she first reached out, I don't know anything about immigration. So I'm the
right,
wrong person to ask.
yes.
Immigration questions go to her.
Right. So, Amitwa, what you can do is you can give me a call at 732-707-9151. You can email your most updated resume to me on my mail ID, which is Rajni at highwriteypeople.com. And you can also check out our website, which is www.highwriteypeople.com. And if you would like to get in touch with Bruce, so you can get in touch with him by giving him a call on his number, which is 201-674-8858. I would like to repeat the number: 201-674-8858. You can also email him at bh@hsstaffing.com. And you can also visit his website, which is hsstaffing.com. Yes, you can also check out his website. So, Bruce, thank you so much for those great answers and also for those great advices. And we are continuously getting questions. So let me take another one. Um,
Sure.
Yes, here is Madhu. And Madhu says, whenever I give any interview, I become very nervous. And due to that, I fail in my interviews. I went through Google, Chat GPT, but nothing helped. Please guide me on this, how to stay calm and relaxed during the interview. What
Okay.
tips do you have for Madhu, Bruce?
Okay. This I like to say is my forte.
Okay.
When I have career counseling clients, this is what I put the emphasis on. A
Mhm.
cover letter is simple, a resume is more complicated, but a resume is only a tool. The purpose of a cover letter is to get the recipient to look at the resume. The purpose of the resume is to get the interview. The purpose of the resume is to get the job offer. And to
Right.
do that, you have to interview well.
Mhm.
There's a joke that the number one fear of most people is public speaking. And the joke is being given the choice between being in the coffin or delivering the eulogy, most people would prefer to be in the coffin. All right.
That's a great show.
Now, this is a live broadcast.
Mhm.
If I watch this afterwards, I will say, well, why did I say that? I should have said this. And I could have been more clear if I had said something differently. Or I was moving my hands too much.
Mhm.
You can always second guess yourself. But what this interview is authentic. This is the way I talk.
Right.
All right. This is the way Rajni talks. This is how
Yeah.
we speak. Don't worry about making a mistake. Don't worry about getting tongue tied and mispronouncing a word.
Mhm.
Don't worry about forgetting what the question was. What I like about this program is the question is on the bottom of the page.
Right.
A couple of times I've had to look at it to remind myself what I was supposed to be talking about. All right? It's okay. It's called being human.
Mhm.
So, not being perfect will not cost you an interview. In fact, if you have rehearsed so well that all of your answers sound planned, don't sound real, you might lose out on the job. So you can over prepare. The thing to do is to practice.
Mhm.
Ask friends to ask you questions. You know what questions are going to be asked. They're going to be based on the job description. So anyone can go over the responsibilities and the qualifications and ask you those questions. The problem is that there are going to be additional questions. I had one gentleman come to me. He told me that the previous year his daughter had graduated with a degree in marketing.
Mhm.
She had gone out and purchased a number of books on interviewing. She got a job. He was laid off.
Mhm.
He took her books. He made a list of all the questions that the experts said employers are likely to ask. He wrote down answers. He was prepared for, I think it was 75 different questions. And when he had his first interview, no one asked a single one of those questions. You don't know what the individual is going to ask.
Right.
They may ask, what are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? I had one candidate blow an interview because the owner of the company asked him, it was for a sales position, what was the last movie you saw? He couldn't remember. And he just totally fell apart.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be ready for the surprise questions. You have to be prepared for the obvious questions. So what you do is first you breathe. The most basic human reaction is fear.
Mm-hmm.
Thinking comes second. I don't remember the science. It's not important. But when you are nervous, when you are afraid, a chemical wall goes up in your brain, which blocks reason, which doesn't enable you to be rational. But there's a very easy way to break down that wall. Oxygen. You take a deep breath, calm down. Now, I don't know if it's the same in cricket, but in baseball, if you've ever seen a baseball game, when a pitcher is about to throw a pitch, whether it's important or not, he will always take a deep breath. That's to calm himself down, to forget about the fact that there's a television audience watching him, that there are thousands of people, maybe tens of thousands of people in the stands watching him, that his teammates are watching him. He's under a lot of pressure. Take a deep breath. Now, you don't want to make it too obvious, so you breathe through your nose. You don't go,
Right.
because it doesn't send the right signal.
Yeah.
Breathe through your nose, close your mouth, breathe through your nose. You're entitled to a few seconds to think about your answer. Take a deep breath through your nose, think about the answer, and then you'll relax. Let nature help you. Now, an interview doesn't end when you shake hands and you leave the room. The interview ends when you either get the job or not. What can save a bad interview, as long as you didn't do anything egregious, is a good thank you email.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can write a good thank you email, you can correct any slight errors you made. I'll give you a simple example. One of my clients said, what do I do? I told them that I brought in $100,000 from campaign A. It was campaign B. Don't worry about it. If you had said you had brought in $100,000, but you had only brought in $10,000, or if you said you brought in $1 million and it was only $100,000, that's a lie. Then you got a problem. But you made a mistake.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So my answer is take a deep breath, give yourself time to think, and remember, no one expects you to be perfect. They're looking to hire a human being, not a robot.
Right. That's true. That's true.
In fact, I had one client who invited me, it was the first time and only time it ever happened, to be in the room when he was interviewing the finalist I had submitted. And When they all had finished and left, he said, okay, we're going to ignore the first 15 minutes of the interview because there are two people who show up, the person in the first 15 minutes and the person in the last 45 minutes. That's very rare. But it just goes to show that interviewers are people and they know they're interviewing other people. So don't make yourself your worst enemy.
Hmm.
Get out of your head, answer their questions. You wouldn't be there if you weren't able to answer the question.
Right, right. Thank you so much for those amazing tips, Bruce. I'm sure they're going to help Madhu a lot. Madhu, please follow these tips that Bruce advised. And yes, I'm sure you're going to do good in your next interview. And after Madhu, Mehboob is also here. And Mehboob says, is it true that the best way to apply for a job is through a referral? What can you say about this?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes. The best way to apply for a job is through a referral. If
Mhm.
there is someone on staff at the company who can say, I know Rajni, she's great, uh, you should interview her.
Mhm.
She's applied for the position. This is whatever, the registration number, whatever. You should really bring her in. She'd be a great asset to us. Good team player, nice person. That's not simply a referral, that's a recommendation.
Right.
So you're not a stranger. Now, there are companies that will not hire friends or relatives of
Yeah.
employees. Now, friends, I can sort of argue with. I agree you shouldn't hire relatives. But all things being equal, yeah, the best referral is the best way to apply for a job is by having an employee of the company or a friend of the owner
Hmm.
say that they should interview you.
Great. Well, Mehboob, I hope you've got your answer. Thank you so much for your question. And let's quickly take one more. Rishvi Sai. So Rishvi Sai is also here. And Rishvi says, I'm pursuing my bachelor's degree second year from a local college, and I want to do internship or join NGOs. I tried and applied to some average organizations, but no one replied, even though these organizations are not well known and big. Tried LinkedIn, Internshala, Indeed, but my city shows very less internship opportunities on these platforms. And also, the remaining internship opportunities are not in my field of interest. What should I do?
Well, in the United States, there's a website that you can use to find internships. I don't know. I assume you're from India, and I don't know
Yeah.
India.
Right. There's
Uh,
a different process in
it's
every
a
country,
different
right?
process. NGOs, I used to work for nonprofits. And if someone were called and say they wanted to volunteer, we always welcome them. We didn't usually necessarily hire them as a volunteer, accept them as a volunteer, but we wouldn't turn them away. That's just stupid. So I honestly don't have a. I don't want to advise you because I don't know India.
Right, of course.
But the
Yeah.
more internships you can get, but your college should also be able to help you. There should be a career counseling
Hmm.
department at the college. You should go to them. You're paying tuition, you're
Yeah.
paying for their services. Have them help you.
Right, right.
I get all sometimes uh, college or university students coming to me and they want to hire me to write their resume. And I say, I'm happy to take your money, but you've paid tuition and there's a career counseling service. Go to them. Why pay me? You've already paid somebody else to do it. Let them help you. Come
Right.
back if you're not satisfied, if you're not getting job interviews. Your resume is good as long as you're getting interviews. If you're not getting any interviews, then you need a new resume.
Okay, so after Rishvi, we also have, because I didn't even realize that we're almost done with, I think, 55 or 56 minutes,
Mm-hmm.
and we just have 4 minutes to go. So, Benisha is also here. Let's take this question as well. Maybe it could be one last for today's episode. And yes, and she says, Sir, I have almost 7 years of experience in as a data analyst, applied to Wipro and in Deloitte a few months ago, but didn't receive any response. I want to ask that on what basis these companies select a candidate? Is it experience, knowledge, skills, or she says what?
Or
I mean,
what?
yeah, maybe something else. Yeah.
You have to realize that these companies get hundreds, perhaps thousands of applications for a job. When the resume or the application arrives, it's
Mhm.
online. It immediately gets put into their applicant tracking system. And then when they need somebody, they do a keyword search and they find the person. I don't understand why companies do not at least send an automated response. Thank you very much. We received your resume, or your application. We will be reviewing it. And when there is interest, we will be in touch. It's a polite thing to do. Even though it's all automated, it's still a polite thing to do. So that's my first red flag. They think
Mhm.
they're too good to even do that. I believe she said she had 7 years experience.
Yeah, I think so. Let me read
Now,
it out again. Yeah, 7 years of experience
seven
as a
years
data analyst.
experience. Now, if it's 7 years at one with one employer, that's good. Now, to exaggerate, if it's 7 years with seven employers, that's bad.
Okay.
That will end your career
Wow.
because no one is going to hire someone who jumps from job to job every year.
Mm-hmm.
Experience, knowledge, and skills are exactly what all employers are looking for. So, why haven't they contacted you? I have no way of knowing. It could very well be, sorry to tell you, that maybe they already filled the job.
Mm-hmm.
But, and I'm starting to research this for an article I'm going to be writing, I believe it is in 2 weeks, on fake job postings.
Mm.
I didn't think that was a real problem, but if I remember correctly, 36% of job ads are fake. The companies just want to get in resumes,
Oh,
which I think is despicable. But this is why you never end your job search until you have a new job. It's also why you shouldn't look for a new job, or you shouldn't quit your job until you have a new job.
mm-hmm. Right.
Why Deloitte wouldn't want someone with your qualifications, I don't know. It could be that you're applying, I'm going to put it all on you, Benicia. It could be you're applying for the wrong jobs. Maybe you're not qualified for them. I don't know. It happens all the time. But I
But
really can't. Go
but
ahead.
also, Bruce, she wants to know that on what basis these companies select a candidate. Is it experience, knowledge, skills, or maybe something else?
It's experience, it's knowledge, it's skills, it's the person's soft skills, not just the hard skills.
Mm-hmm.
I believe she said she was a systems analyst.
Mm-hmm.
So You may be the best systems analyst in the world, but you haven't had an interview yet, so they have no way of knowing us. But they may not think you're a good fit for the company because you act one way and it's not the company's way. It's not. I'm trying not to be rude. You haven't had the interview, so you don't know if you're lacking something in soft skills. It may be something in your interview, in your resume. You could have too many mistakes in your resume, typographical errors.
Yeah.
I have no way of knowing. This is a tough one to answer.
Right.
All employers want experience, they want knowledge, they want soft and hard skills. Most importantly, they want to know that the person is going to stay on the job for an extended period of time.
Right.
And will be then that they'll want them for an extended period of time. But more than that, without knowing the details, I really can't say.
Okay. All right. So, but you try to give an answer with whatever that you can understand. So, thank you so much for that, Benisha. I hope you have got the answer. But unfortunately, that's all the time we have for questions for today and also for the show today. So, again, thank you so much, Bruce. It was again a pleasure having you on the show.
The pleasure was mine, and I thank the viewers for their very good questions. That's what I like. I like excellent questions.
Right. Thank you so much. And guys, if you want to get in touch with Bruce, so you can give him a call on his number, which is 201-674-8858. I would like to repeat it again, 201-674-8858. His email is bh@hsstaffing.com and his website is hsstaffing.com. So you can also check his website out. And if you're looking for a project placement or visa sponsorship, you can reach out to me on my number, which is 732-707-9151. My email is rajni@hirightpeople.com and our website is www.hirightpeople.com. So you can also check that out. Remember, we sponsor H-1B visas and other work visas based on job availability and regulations. On that note, thank you so much again, Bruce.
My pleasure.
Look forward to having you for maybe with another topic, in future for another episode.
I would be delighted.
Thank you so much. You have a great day ahead.
You too.
Thank you so much to all of you for joining and also for sharing your amazing questions. But that's it for today's episode on Immigration and Jobs Talk Show. We hope you found Bruce's insights as valuable as we did. So be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to our channel for more expert advice on immigration and job search strategies. And until next time, I'm Rajni Bharara signing off for now. Like I say, keep subscribing and keep watching Immigration and Jobs Talk Show. Bye for now.
Consultant seeking a new opportunity? We offer job placement services for U.S. citizens, green cards, EADs, and visa holders. We also sponsor various work visas like H-1B, E3, TN, and green cards. 20 plus years of experience in the industry. Exceptional employee benefits. Highly rated by our employees. Global presence with 200 plus recruiters and direct clients. Connect with us. Call us on the number 732-707-9151 or mail us at rajni@higheritpeople.com or visit our website